Welcome and thanks for joining us for the 2013 Paradise Jam Preview Show. As you can see, I am a very excited version of News 2's Monica Jonigan. Every sports fan in the territory knows we come out for many sports, whether it's Pee-wees or the 40-plus leagues. But what we also know is that around these parts, basketball is king. And for the next half hour, we'll be breaking down the king of NCAA early season tournaments, the U.S. Virgin Islands basketball awesomeness, the Paradise Jam. It is here. There's lots to talk about over the next half hour. And with us to break down the teams and what to expect from this year's tournament is the man whose face is recognized throughout the territory and who works tirelessly from the day the tournament ends until it begins again. Basketball Travelers Executive Director Nels Hawkinson and President of Basketball Travelers as well, too. Welcome home, Nels.
Basketball is my favorite sport. I like to dribble up and down the court. I keep it so fresh on the microphone. I like no interruptions when the game is on. That's right. We're bringing it again. Year 13 for the men.
13 for
14
the men.
for the women, 13 for the men.
Yep.
We're excited. We're going to talk a little bit about the Hall of Fame that we created last year.
Yes.
Talking about our new logo that's right behind
Yep,
us. It's
yep.
kind of sweet to feature our two top sponsors that put this thing on.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about the teams. I'm excited to be back alongside my sidekick. This
That's
is awesome.
right. It's going to be so great. Let's give a sense of the history of this tournament on the men's side. 13 years. We've done it again, and we're about to be treated to some March Madness-worthy mid-majors matchups. Talk about how this tournament has become the place to be to see mid-majors in the early season.
Absolutely. Well, CBS, I hope next year will come out with a mantra, the road to the Final Four begins in paradise. And that's what it does, because this is the very first CBS broadcast basketball event right here in the U.S. Virgin Islands on the island of St. Thomas.
Six games.
It is. 6 games on national television, 90-some million homes, 200 and some odd million people could be watching this broadcast, checking out the islands, seeing, hey, maybe we should go there on that vacation. Let's heck with Hawaii, heck with Bahamas. We're going to come down here to St. Thomas because you don't need a passport, and you can use U.S. money, and they speak English, and they got good food, they got great beaches, and wonderful people. So why not?
Why not? And you get to see some outstanding basketball. And speaking of exposure for the territory, CBS, like we said, is going to cover 6 games. CBS Sports Network is going to go out national. So come on out, and you get to be on national television. There'll be 2 games on Friday, the 22nd, also 2 games on Sunday, and 2 games on Monday, the day the tournament ends, including a doubleheader that features the championship tournament. It's going to be great.
Absolutely, and here's kind of the numbers going on. So 4 of the 8 teams are in the postseason tournament, which is pretty good to have.
Pretty impressive, yeah.
Absolutely. 7 of the 8 teams return 3 or 4 starters, so you're not seeing a lot of young kids. They are senior-laden teams, had a lot of experience. It's great stuff. And we got the small school, and we got the big school. We got Maryland that has 38,000 people.
Yes.
Then we got Providence. You wouldn't think so. Providence has 3,800.
And they are manic fans out there.
Oh, they are. And we got people that are coming in, and they're chartering planes to get here. And so the hotels are going to be full. The rental cars are going to be placed. You need to make reservations for restaurants that week if you want some place to eat, because everybody's coming to the Rock to watch great basketball.
Nels, what you and I both know is that one of the best things about this time of year, and this tournament in particular, is getting to know these teams and the thrill of watching them progress through the season and being able to see them possibly come March. And we're really looking forward to seeing that with these mid-majors this year. But let's give a sense of some of the new things that are going on with Basketball Travelers. Last year, you started a Hall of Fame. Let's talk about that. What was that about?
Absolutely. I was actually astounded. There was no Basketball Hall of Fame here in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and so it came from actually a local. Over the last couple of years, yeah, man, why don't you start a Hall of Fame, man? I'm like, that's a great idea. A lot of the things that we've encompassed over the years have come from suggestions, and I get some good ones, get some bad ones. This was a great one,
right.
And so we inducted 2 wonderful gentlemen that into the Hall of Fame, and we've got 3 that we're going to announce here to the public. Last week, we had our press conference announce these 3 gentlemen. And so joining the U.S. Virgin Islands proudly to announce the Basketball Hall of Fame with these 3 gentlemen, Robert X. Gumbs.
Yes.
Let me talk about Robert X. Gumbs. He's arguably one of the 3 best players to ever play the game of basketball here in the U.S. Virgin Islands. He, at one point, he scored 78 points in one particular game. Unfortunately, he's since passed away, and so he will not be able to make the ceremonies that we have during the event. But he will go on our trophy and move on and be remembered in just a great way. Glenn Kimball Williams. My boy Glenn Kimball played for the Ghetto Brothers, He actually broke his arm sliding in baseball, turned to basketball, kind of like your boy over in St. Croix did. He used to be a swimmer and became a basketball player, old Timmy.
That would be Timmy.
Well, this Glenn Kimball Williams was drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks, played for St. John's, scored about 1,800 points, and just a great inductee. The third person, Lewis Penn Sr., not a stranger to many people, as a member of the USA Olympic team, played in the Caribbean and Central Games. He is our third and last inductee to the Hall of Fame, and we're just proud to announce these three into the Hall of Fame for this year.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Nels. When we come back, we'll huddle in the coaches' corner and hear from Loyola Marymount's Lions head coach, Max Good, on his team and their 3,000-plus mile journey to paradise. Plus, we'll break down the teams, giving you a clear look at what to expect this year from your 2013 Paradise Jam men's tournament. So keep it locked right here.
Paradise Jam is back in some. Paradise Jam!
It's back! That's right, the Paradise Jam tournament is back, celebrating its 14th year in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the road to the Final Four starts right here in Paradise. The men's tournament kicks off at the UVI Sports and Fitness Center, November 22nd to the 25th. Watch top-ranked teams like LaSalle, Maryland, and Providence. Also, check out the UVI Bucks in the exhibition game on November 23rd. The women's tournament starts playing November 28th through the 30th. Come and watch big-time matchups with ranked teams like Duke, Kansas, and Texas A&M. Tickets are available at Fat Turtle and the UVI bookstore. Tickets are $15 for adults, $10 for senior citizens, and $5 for children, high school students, UVI students with ID, and UVI staff. CBS Sports will be broadcasting on November 22nd, 24th, and 25th. For more information and game schedules, follow us on Twitter and Facebook, or log on to www.paradisejam.com. I'll see you at the game!
Welcome back to the Paradise Jam Preview Show. If you're just joining us, we've got tournament organizer and a hoops guru over here, Nels Hawkinson, with us to talk early tournament action. But before we get to the teams, Nels, give us a sense of how far in advance Basketball Travelers secures some of these teams to come to the Paradise Jam.
Yeah, for instance, right now, our whole field for 2014 is filled, men and women. We have every team contract signed. We have teams signed for 15 already. We have teams all the way out to 2017. So if you do the math, you're about 4 years out in advance, and you have to, because that's how men's and women's basketball teams schedule that far advance. So we're about 4 years ahead.
And will we get the chance to see that little turn large Hawkinson, your son, who is now playing at Washington State? Tell me we're going to get to see him play in his own hometown.
As you FB'd me, you called him Big Hawkinson, and he is. He's 6'10" and 255 pounds now. He is actually, Washington State will be here his senior year. 2016.
Wow.
So from gutter to glory, that old boy, and from being behind the basket, now he's going to be in front of the basket. So, but that's a few years away. A lot can happen between now and then. So, but it'll be fun when that happens.
Absolutely.
If that happens.
It will be great. Well, let's turn our attention to this year's teams. Let's talk about the squad that's traveling over 3,000 miles to open up this year's Jam. The Lions of Loyola Marymount University from my hometown, Los Angeles, California. And Nels, they're coming off a rough season. Last year, the Lions were looking, to their prolific guard, Anthony Ireland. He's a big scorer for them, to sort of put this team on their back and lead the way. But they had some tragedy early in the season. 2 of their players were in a car accident. And I spoke to head coach Max Good from Loyola in our Coach's Corner. And here's what he had to say about his team coming to the Virgin Islands, as well as them recouping from the incident. Let's take a look.
Every year we look to try to play in a tournament that has really, really good quality teams, and obviously this was a chance for our players and our staff to go to an area that we probably most of us have never been to before. And it's kind of a learning experience, both from a basketball standpoint and from a cultural standpoint. Well, Deshie has recovered. He was out for about a week and a half with some chest issues, but he's recovered nicely, and he's a terrific defender, and obviously he's a very capable scorer. And Godwin, in my mind, and other coaches in our league have mentioned this also, I think he's the best post defender in our league. Now, he doesn't have glowing offensive statistics, but he's irreplaceable as a defensive player. His rebounding stats aren't always as good because he fronts the post so well, and that's like wrestling, like sumo wrestling. He does it game after game after game. That's his role. He does it flawlessly, and he does it without any chagrin. He will be missed badly. We don't know when he's going to come back or if he will this year. We certainly would like to have him, but if it's going to waste the biggest part of the year, we probably will keep him to bring him back next year. He's that good a player and that good a person.
So, Nels, we heard from Max Good, and you were actually around when this accident happened with these two players. Is that
Yeah, it
right?
was right before. I was visiting with the coaching staff. They're so excited about the season. This is the year to get national recognition and a very strong senior-related team, because the year previous, last year, they didn't win but one game in 2 months because they just had no one. They were playing, virtually, walk-ons.
Right.
And so that was the big year, and so they are going to have one of the guys back,
Yep.
but the other guy, while he won't get to play this year, he still has a redshirt season left, so he will get to be next year. So they're not woe is me people.
Right.
Max is a straight basketball, hard-nosed guy, and he's not going to have anybody feel sorry for themselves, that's for sure.
Well, we'll be looking forward to seeing them when they get here and cheering for them when they open up the tournament. Next up, let's talk about Morgan State holding it down for the HBCUs in the Paradise Jam this year. And Nels, who could forget this team's heartbreak last season during the Mideast Atlantic Conference Final against North Carolina A&T? Their senior, Jeremy Underwood, misses two crucial free throws at the end, and then Dwayne Jackson misses that game-tying three-pointer to send North Carolina A&T to the tournament instead of them. Morgan State's hungry this year.
No, they are, and in that league, they only can really have one team that goes to
Yeah.
the dance, and the team that wins the conference tournament is your automatic
one.
automatic champion. Todd Bozeman is the helm of that program. He's big time. He started out at Cal, recruited Jason Kidd, of course, is now coaching the Brooklyn Nets, and he's a very, very good coach. He's going to have them under control. They do return 4 starters back from that 17 and 15 team. Now, they have to play a lot of money games.
Yeah.
So that record isn't really indication of how good they are, because they have to play a lot of top 20 teams to bring in like $700,000 or $800,000 to the program. That's how it works, in some of the smaller conferences. And so he takes his lumps early, but then their theme is win the MEAC, punch a ticket to the dance, and make history, baby.
How about them Bears,
that
huh?
is right there. And there's a lot of Virgin Islanders that have been to Morgan State. One of the voices of the Paradise Jam during the games is Carol.
Yep.
Carol's a graduate of, so we give a little shout out to Carol and the
Shouts
Bears.
out to Carol.
And
Go
she's bringing everybody and all the people to cheer for Morgan State. And I'm telling you, they got a decent chance. They're pretty good.
People, you have to get your tickets because it's going to be a packed house. Let's move on and let's talk about the Panthers of Northern Iowa. They're going to open the men's tournament facing Loyola Marymount on Friday, the 22nd at 2 p.m. And Nels, the Missouri Valley Conference is in the building with the Panthers. They are number 1 in the Missouri Valley Conference on defense. And what should we expect from Northern Iowa in the tournament?
Yeah, Northern Iowa's good. Ben Jacobson's done a great job there. He's in his 8th year. Actually, one reason why they're back is his 2 kids, Hunter and Tanner. Because I told him, he actually took time for his kids, as a lot of coaches don't when they're here. I said, you got to take them to Kogi Beach. You got to get that big dog bone and put it in there, and you like swimming in an aquarium at Kogi Beach. That's my beach. Before the cruise ships come in or after they leave, that's when you go to Kogi Beach and hang out with the locals.
Nels is a local. Like,
No,
he
absolutely.
knows where to go.
And so one reason why he came back is because his 2 sons goes, Dad, can we go back to that tournament where they had that cool beach and we could feed the fish? So that's one of the main reasons. It's either sometimes the wives for the men's coaches or the husbands for all of that. But he's my guy. 5 straight postseason tournaments, 5 times the 20 wins or more. He play a really tough man-to-man defense, and they're good, real good.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to see him go Bears. Next up, Maryland Terrapins, a big get for Paradise Jam men's. Nels.
ACC for last year. They're going to the Big Ten. Oh my goodness. What is going on there? But the reason why I like the Terrapins, you know what? I've been over to that turtle sanctuary, just straight out the window here a little bit over there at the Turtle Reserve. And but for them, I don't fear them when I'm over there, but when you play Marion, you have to fear the turtle.
Fear the
because
turtle.
how do you fear a turtle? I have, even the snapping turtles. I don't
When
think
they're
can-
dunking on you,
They
it's
are.
easy.
So they were the NIT semifinals last year, made it that far. Mark Turgeon has cut his rug in a lot of different places. He started that Wichita State program. Then he moved to A&M, took A&M to 4 straight tournament
Yes.
in 4 straight years. Maryland says, come on over our way, take us into the promised land and resurrect what Gary Williams had built for many, many years. And so this is an exciting time to have somebody that good, to come down here. And they returned 4 starters. So this is not a bad team. It's a very good ACC
very good team. You're going to see some quality basketball when that team gets here. Let's talk about Providence University. The Friars, so meek, but not really. Talk about that team, and certainly in the running for the Paradise Jam glory. This team is stacked. Bryce Cotton is an offensive monster, already averaging 28 points per game, and they're barely underway. And let's never forget Kadeem Batts. He's averaged almost 15 per for the Friars last season, and he's poised to make a big contribution this year.
Yep, this is our smallest enrollment team in the tournament, but this is my sleeper. I've done a lot of studying on each of the teams. Providence, like you said, is loaded. They were in the NIT last year. They finished with 19 and 15, but they came out strong. They won something like 8 of their last 9 games,
Right.
And to finish extremely strong. He brought them to their first postseason in 10 years. Providence is back, and they have Ed Cooley as the coach, former Boston College assistant.
Yep.
He just has to go down the road to Rhode Island, which isn't far, maybe 30 minutes from campus to campus, to take over this program. And I expect really good things. They have a first hard matchup with Vanderbilt, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But I think they'll get past Vanderbilt, and there's a good chance to get to the championship game.
Well, that's a great place to stop it. So we could do this. I wish we had like hours to do this. It's so much fun, and we could talk about this over and over and over. But when we come back, we'll break down more of the teams, and we'll see these mid-majors. So stay with us, and you're watching the 2013 Paradise Jam Men's Preview Show. Hang out.
It's back! That's right, the Paradise Jam Tournament is back, celebrating its 14th year in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the road to the Final Four starts right here in Paradise. The men's tournament kicks off at the UVI Sports and Fitness Center, November 22nd to the 25th. Watch top-ranked teams like LaSalle, Maryland, and Providence. Also, check out the UVI Bucks in the exhibition game on November 23rd. The women's tournament starts playing November 28th through the 30th. Come and watch big-time matchups with ranked teams like Duke, Kansas, and Texas A&M. Tickets are available at Fat Turtle and the UVI bookstore. Tickets are $15 for adults, $10 for senior citizens, and $5 for children, high school students, UVI students with ID, and UVI staff. CBS Sports will be broadcasting on November 22nd, 24th, and 25th. For more information and game schedules, follow us on Twitter and Facebook, or log on to www.paradisejam.com. I'll see you at the game!
Paradise Jam is back in some. Paradise Jam!
Welcome back to the Paradise Jam Preview Show. And if you're just joining us, I'm here with my boy, Nels Hawkinson, breaking down what you can expect from this year's men's tournament. And right now, we're going to turn our attention to the SEC, Vanderbilt Commodores. Nels, their first game against Providence on Friday the 22nd is really one of the must-see, do not miss games of this tournament.
Absolutely. Kevin Stallings has been there for 14 years. He knows what he's doing, but he had a major issue this summer. His top 2 guards left the program. So he is struggling to try to figure out a way to get this to be the type of SEC team that he's had in the past. They've won 6 of they did end up winning 6 of their last games, so they finished the season pretty strong, and they were hoping for great things for this year. But with the 2 guards that have left, I know that it's a little bit nightmare to prepare. But he's a good enough coach. I think he'll get through. They do have 3 starters back, so they would have had all 5 starters here. Again, a lot of teams coordinate this so that they're coming onto this neutral site situation. evaluations so they can make a blast on national television,
Right.
like get into the rankings, and that unfortunately is not going to happen for him. He's going to the backup plan, and the backup plan is just try to eke out some wins the best he can.
Well, the SEC, that's a brutal conference this year. I mean, you have teams that you could have several blowouts. I mean, Kentucky and all these huge powerhouse.
No, absolutely. And I love their nickname, the Commodores, because it's
Yeah.
one of my favorite R&B groups. I'm easy, easy like Sunday morning, yeah, I'm easy.
Nels is singing, people. That means we need to move on.
That's
let's talk
we do.
Let's talk about Marist, the Red Foxes, the team that many in the territory may not really be familiar with. They're the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, and they have a great shot success this year. They've got a new head coach, Jeff Bauer, and the team returns about 80% of their top scoring, and including guard Kavanaugh Lewis, who's already he's already broken school records, and he's only been there 2 years or so.
No, absolutely. Coach Bauer is an interesting story on him. He was a former assistant coach at Marist, went away, and the last 15 years he's been with New Orleans and the Charlotte Bobcats as director of player personnel, general manager, and head coach. So this is the first time we have a former NBA head coach being part of the men's. We've had WNBA and
That's right.
and Hoopa Coop and your boy over there, but this is our first men's coach that's a former NBA coach, and having been a former Marist assistant coach, they brought him back, and they have 4 starters and 5 key reserves. That's the good news and the bad news,
Right.
actually. So it's going to take a couple years to get those Red Foxes going, but they're actually more known for the women's team who was here last
That's
year
right.
because the women's team's always in the top 25.
They've got a great program.
But they couldn't do any better than having a former alumnus coach leading the charge.
Let's talk about the team that we're listing last, but certainly not least. We turn our attention to the program that was an NCAA tournament darling this year, the LaSalle Explorers. What a talented squad, Nels. Great coach, a team that's going to be fun to watch come tournament time, and we might see them again in March.
You will see them again in March. Coach Dr. John Giovini.
Yeah,
How can
Giovini.
you go wrong? He should be going
Coach
to.
Giovini.
He should be eating a Virgilio's every
Yeah.
night. No,
Nice.
he's not only a great coach. He's a doctor. I think, if my records serve me right, the only head coach that's a PhD coaching Division I men's basketball. He got his major in his doctorates in sports psychology, and he uses it on this team. He has 4 guards. He goes with a 4-guard lineup and 1 big guy. In fact, he has more tough guards than a state prison. I mean, no, they are tough. They were a Sweet 16 last year. Yep. They are picked to finish first in the Atlantic 10, which is kind of interesting. The conference is, while they're called the Atlantic 10, there's 13 teams in it.
Right.
The Big 10 has like 11. The Big 12 has like 11.
Well, and the Big 12 was the Big 8, but they had sense enough to, change the number. They're going to have to get it together with
No, it is. And I love their name because, they're called the Explorers. And Columbus sailed here in 1493, and he explored the territories, fell in love with it, came on with some bounty, I'm sure, of some kind. Well, they hope to bring home the bounty of winning the national gems, the Paradise Jam Championship here at the U.S. Virgin Islands Easy Bonds tournament for the men.
It's going to be outstanding. I cannot wait to see the Explorers because this is one of these teams that I know I'm going to have so much fun watching them as they progress through the season and hopefully see them come March.
Oh, yeah, they're an outstanding team, 20-14 last year, and now they had to beat 3 top 20 teams to get to the Sweet 16. It was
no picnic.
No easy road to the Final Four. They went back street, went front street, and then took a catamaran to get to the Sweet 16 for them, and they'll do whatever it takes to do something like that this year.
Well, they're on their right path right now because everybody who's anybody knows that the journey to the tourney starts in paradise.
It does, baby. That's right where it starts.
Nels, this has been fun, but these tournaments could not be possible without the people who help bring it together. And there's a ton of people who make this all happen year after year after year. In addition to the staff locally here that works with Basketball Travelers 200 plus staff around the country, we have some sponsors to thank. And Nels, give us a sense of who are the people that we need to thank for bringing this tournament back to us year after year.
Yeah, absolutely. So our 2 top sponsors, of course, is the U.S. Virgin Islands Department of Tourism. They get it. They understand the millions of dollars that's brought to the economy, the millions of dollars in media via all the games on television, or 6 games on television, all the games streamed, men and women's, all the games are on radio, the print, the teams that are in the top 25, the extra love that they get. So it's worth $10, $12 million in media value. So with the hope that while people are watching or listening or reading about it, we'll spend that money to come down here in the Rock, and so everybody does well. So big shout out to them. Big shout out to Easy Bonds, our friends from down under, Mike.
Sure. Yeah.
And so right there, you can see them right there, and they've joined in to sign a 4-year deal with us. And so they'll be here, and they're enjoying basketball. And they've set up shop right here in the U.S. Virgin Islands and incorporated their organization for the United States right here. So it was nice stuff. Then we have
Shouts
our
out to
list.
Easy Bonds.
There it is, absolutely. So let's go through the list. It was easier when we first get going. There's like 2 or 3 of you. So I'm sorry I've got to read a few of these because I love each one of you in an incredible way. So we got Alma Media Group. We got A.H. Reese. We got AT&T. We got Avis that takes care of all our cars. We got, of course, with 250 jewelry stores on the island, we got to have a few jewelers.
Yes.
So we got Ballerina Jewelers. We got Banco Popular. Bellows, we thank you for those adult beverages that we get for the VIP room upstairs. Belonga Bay, who provides Beach Resort, who provides us the catamarans, and Broadband VI, Business World, Caribbean Food Service, Caribbean Screen Printing, my boy Barris, bring it on, baby. Chalet Dior, Coca-Cola, and of course, Comprehensive Orthopedic Global, Coral World, that's right, where all the fishies hang out. Daily News, Divive, Designs, Dial Rent to Own, where you get all that cool furniture, you get a lounge in for all you VIPs. Fat Turtle, where you can buy your tickets, also at the UVI bookstore. Havana Blue, Home Depot, Big Orange. The Syracuse women's team will hang out there. International Capital and Management. Lucky Jewelers, 2K Sports, who gives us all those 2K14 videos. Mahogany Run. I had to bring an extra pair of pants with me last time I went because I had a hole in one. So the Marriott, where all the teams stay. Pizza Hut, Red Hook Agencies, my gal Tammy, Subway, Tropic Tours, who hauls us all the teams around the island. Tutu Park, thank you, Monique. And of course, bringing it home, showing some extra love to TV2.
Right here, baby.
CBS, that's it.
Right here.
Virgin Beverages, VI Port Authority, and Wyco. I love each one of you, and I thank you for your continued support of the U.S. Virgin Islands Paradise Jam.
It would not be possible without them. And I want to thank, it would not be possible without you, Nels. Thank you so much for being back with us yet again. Thank you for joining us for the 2013 Paradise Jam preview show. You're all set. We'll see you at the games.
Yo, the place is here, the time is now. On top of the world and I can't come down. No, I can't come down. This is how it feels to stand on the clouds. The place is here, the time is now. On top of the world and I can't come down. No, I can't come